The Year to Their podcast, it's time to start the show. Be sure to hold on tight, here we go. Exploring all the different Disney destinations. Year to Their, it's time to start the fun.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Year to Their podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week. I am your host, Phil Gramlich, and each and every week I will be bringing you a different Walt Disney World word, and then I'll provide you with some tips, some background, some hints about that Walt Disney World word. All right, so without further ado, let's get right into it. This week's Walt Disney World Word of the Week is brought to you by the letter W. W for whip. And no, I'm not going to talk about the watch me whip, watch me whip, watch me nay-nay, watch me nay-nay song. Nor will I be talking about my favorite fictional character, Indiana Jones's trusty whip that he always has on his hip. This week, I will, of course, be talking about the world-famous Walt Disney World and Disneyland dessert, the Dole Whip. And I just realized I'm really going to be testing my pop filter today by saying whip a lot. So I'm happy I made the investment in the pop filter for my microphone. Okay, so the Dole Whip is a soft serve frozen dessert that was created by the Dole Food Company way back in 1986. Now, originally this quote unquote ice cream had dairy in it, but not too long ago the dairy was removed. So it's now completely dairy free and it's now vegan friendly. So all of you vegans out there who say you can't have one because it has dairy in it, it doesn't. So go ahead, get in line right away and get your Dole Whip. So it's actually served two different ways. The actual Dole Whip itself is the pineapple soft serve in a cup. That is traditionally a real Dole Whip. They also serve the Dole Whip float, and that consists of the ice cream served in a larger cup with pineapple juice. Now, as I said, this dessert was first invented at the Dole Plantation in Hawaii in 1986, and it's still served there to this day. And from the crazy amount of Dole Whip devotees that Disney has created, wow, that was a lot of D's in there. Dole Whip devotees that Disney has created. That's pretty good. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, there is no off button to the Genius Switch. Anyway, from all those folks, you might think that Dole Whips are served exclusively in the Disney parks, but that's not really true. You can get them pretty much nationwide at a number of different sporting events, zoos, and different venues, but it was the Disney guests that made the Dole Whip kind of a big-time Disney phenomenon. Just do a quick search on Etsy or on eBay or Amazon, type in the words Dole Whip, and you'll find tons of fan-created clothes, decorations, art, all kinds of stuff that is all about the Dole Whip. These days, the Dole Whip is a true icon of the Disney parks and ranks up there with things like Mickey ears, the Mickey ice cream bar, the Mickey pretzel, and a large La Fin du Monde from the beer cart in Epcot's Canada Pavilion. Wait, is that just me? Is that only iconic to me? Okay. Well, happily for me, on the Wednesday that this is released, I'll just be a few days away from enjoying my La Fin du Monde after completing the 2017 Walt Disney World Marathon. So for me, that drink is a real icon of my Disney trip. Okay, back to the Dole Whip and away from my tangent. So you may be asking yourself, all right, Phil, the Dole Whip sounds great. Well, where do I get one? I am so happy you asked that question. So in Disneyland, the only place you can get a Dole Whip is right at the Enchanted Tiki Room. There is a stand that sells the Dole Whips. Now, there's always a long line outside the Tiki Room. It's goes into Adventureland. It's a long line. There's nothing you can do about it. But actually, that's not true. There is something you can do about it. And it's get in line for the Enchanted Tiki Room. There's a second window where you can order your Dole Whip that is actually in the queue for the Enchanted Tiki Room. So yeah, the second window is actually in the queue for the Tiki Room itself. And for years, that was kind of an unknown, or at least not very well-known secret. I mean, sure, locals knew about it, but it was kept a secret from tourists and East Coasters like me until the 60th anniversary of Disneyland special, where Olaf himself, Josh Gad, made it a lot more well known that you could simply get in line for the Tiki Room and grab a Dole Whip and actually take it inside. Disneyland has been allowing guests to take the Dole Whip inside the Tiki Room for years, whereas Walt Disney World just started allowing guests to bring their Dole Whips into the Tiki Room a couple of months ago. So where can you grab a Dole Whip in Walt Disney World? Well, right outside Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room is Aloha Isle. And Aloha Isle is the place in the Magic Kingdom where you can get your Dole Whip or your Dole Whip float. Now in 2015, Aloha Isle and the Sunshine Tree Terrace switched spots. So the location outside the Tiki Room used to be the Sunshine Tree Terrace, and it used to sell the Citrus Swirl, and it had the Orange Bird and all of that stuff. They switched. So when you walk into Adventureland from the hub, right across from the Swiss Family Treehouse, that is now the Sunshine Tree Terrace. So that is now where you can get your Citrus Swirl or your Orange Bird stuff. And over next to the Tiki Room is where you can actually get your Dole Whip or your Dole Whip float. So where else can you get the Dole Whip float in Walt Disney World? Again, I'm so glad you asked. In Disney's Animal Kingdom at Tamu Tamu Refreshments in the Africa section of the park, you can get the traditional Dole Whip, or you can get the Dole Whip that is topped with either coconut rum or dark rum. And in Epcot during the Flower and Garden Festival, which takes place in the spring, you can also find those two Dole Whip concoctions at the Pineapple Promenade stand. So look for that when you're there for the Flower and Garden Festival. And probably my favorite place to get a Dole Whip is actually not in the parks at all. So if you're in the Magic Kingdom and a Dole Whip line in Adventureland is super long, which it tends to be, think about leaving the park for a little bit, jumping on a monorail, and heading over to the Polynesian Village Resort and Bungalows. Right outside the sliding glass door in the lobby is a little stand called Pineapple Lanai. And the Pineapple Lanai has the classic Dole Whip. It has the Dole Whip float. And it'll actually serve them if you want to buy the souvenir tiki bowl or the souvenir tiki sipper for the float. You can buy those as well. And they are pretty cool little mementos from your vacation. And they're not too hard to fit in a suitcase. So that might be a nice little option for you if you want the Dole Whip without the line and if you want the souvenir to take home. Now, one thing about the Dole Whip is it kind of polarizes or splits Disney fans right down the middle. Either you love the Dole Whip or you hate the Dole Whip. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of in between. And then there are those guests who love the Citrus Swirl and they swear by the Citrus Swirl. And they'll never get a Dole Whip because the Citrus Swirl is just that good. So this week, I want to know where you stand on the Dole Whip debate. Again, more D's, more alliteration. This is getting fun. Do you love the Dole Whip? Do you hate the Dole Whip? Just let me know. Send me an email to phil@eartotheretravel.com and tell me why you love or hate the Dole Whip. Or if you have a thing for the Citrus Swirl, let me know that as well. I'm really looking forward to hearing back from you and your thoughts on the iconic Disney Dole Whip. And that is going to do it for this week's Walt Disney World Word of the Week. As always, thank you so much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I was so excited to do this one because I personally love the Dole Whip. I've brainwashed my children. They all love the Dole Whip. I've brainwashed my wife. She loves the Dole Whip. So we're a Dole Whip family. I can't wait to hear where you stand on the great Dole Whip debate of 2016. Or I'm recording this in 2016, but for you, it will be 2017 when you actually hear it. Again, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, please just tell someone about it. You can share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, any of your favorite social media sites, or just tell someone in your life about it. Word of mouth is a great way to spread the word about the podcast. I'd really appreciate that as well. And just remember, there will be a new episode of the Word of the Week podcast each and every Wednesday morning, as well as a new episode of the regular Ear to There podcast each and every Monday morning. So until next time, have a great week. Bye-bye.